Hi everyone, I'm Karen from Layers of Learning, and today I just want to give you a quick tour of the brand new Layers of Learning. When you order this, you're actually ordering a PDF. That's all that we have available right now. In the future, we will offer paperbacks, but when you receive your order, it will be a PDF, which you can either print or use digitally. So I printed it so that I can give you a little tour. I have the history, the geography, the science, and the art all together. I printed all of them and then I bound them into one book. The classic Layers of Learning had the history, geography, science, and art all in one book. In the new version, we actually decided to separate those. And that's because a lot of people only wanted to buy the history or they only wanted to buy the art. And so we wanted to leave that flexible so that people could get only what they wanted and not have to purchase everything if they weren't going to be using it. You still can absolutely put them together, treat it just like we did the classic. They still dovetail. You can see on the units at a glance that you'll see all kinds of similarities between topics. We tried to make them mesh where they could. And even in the classic, it wasn't a perfect thing because it doesn't always work out perfectly. But you will see a lot of similarities across the subjects. So anyway, this is all 4 subjects, all printed and bound into one book that I just printed out at home. When you open it, the very first history page is going to look like this. Let's see if I can show you a good view. Hopefully you can see that. This very first column right here is the unit overview. And every single one of the units has that. They don't all have exactly the same content, but they generally all have vocabulary words and key concepts and sometimes important people or places or whatever relates to the topic in that unit. And then right here is a unit overview that describes for you what the purpose and topic that you'll be teaching is. It's just to get your bearings. You can read it out loud to your kids if you want, or you can just read it ahead of time so that you're familiar and can understand and be prepared for what you're planning to teach. Over on this other side, I want to first show you the sidebars here. This says family school levels. It has the 3 smiley faces. The yellow smiley is marked for the youngest kids, your little learners, and then the green is for the middle grades. The blue is intended for high school. So you'll see that, like for example, on the library list, you can see a book that is intended for all 3. And down here you can see, oh, that one's just for little learners. The activities have the same code so that you can quickly get your bearings and know where you're looking in the unit and find the activities that will work for your family. Right below that is a sidebar called On the Web. And that is a reminder to you that right on layersoflearning.com, we have an entire resources page for each unit with links and videos, and it links to the YouTube playlist. It has all kinds of extra resources. We used to post those right in the printed books, and then we discovered that the internet changes so fast that it was really hard to keep it updated once it was printed in a book. So it's working better for us to have it right on the website. We can keep those links live and updated, and you can easily find them. And then right down here is a sidebar called Bookworms. This is just a fun family read aloud that goes with the topic. So it's totally optional. In fact, everything in Layers of Learning is optional, but we like to provide lots of ideas and resources for you. So you can always find a family read aloud right there. So this main part of the page, this says Step 1 Library List. So the very first step to learning as a family is to explore books, websites, movies about the topic. You're going to intersperse that with activities, but we list Step 1 because it's really important that you gather some resources so that you can explore a topic. If you're sitting there with nothing to explore, you don't go very far and the activities kind of fall flat. So Step 1 is to explore those things with your family. Step 2 is when you actually get into the projects and explorations. You'll notice, again, the smileys. So this is an activity that is intended for all 3 ages, so it would be a great one to do with your whole family. And this is a timeline. A lot of the history sections will have timelines. As you go along, you'll have all kinds of activities. Sorry, it's hard to turn the pages and hold it up. And this is very intended to be pick and choose. You're not supposed to do everything in here. It would be ridiculous to do everything. It's meant to be used over and over again with your family. So choose a few activities, explore some of the books and some of the websites, watch some of the YouTube videos, and you'll be amazed at how much your kids learn with just a few hands-on projects and some good exploration of the topics. So as you go along, you'll also see that every single page has sidebars. These sidebars are just extra things. Like this one, for example, is a fabulous fact. It's just extra little fun things to throw in. Like say your kids are working on a worksheet. While they're working on it, you can just read them a fabulous fact, or you can tell them about one of the famous folks that are in the sidebars. There are all kinds of just little extras that you'll see. Every single exploration or project, let's see if I can get this close enough to see it. It goes through and tells you exactly what you'll need. So you'll see a bulleted list of each thing that you need. And then it often has kind of a description or an explanation of what you're learning about. And then you'll see a numbered list right here. And this list just basically takes you step by step through the project or exploration that you're going to be doing. Again, you're picking and choosing, so you're just going to go through this book and choose a few things here and there. In this history one, there are I'm still going. I'm going to show you a few pages here. So you'll often see the projects, the explorations, and then along that you'll see the sidebars with all of the extras. What I was trying to get to is, in this one there are 33 pages of activities for the history. The very end of it has step 3. So step 1 was that library list. Step 2 was the explorations with all those activities. And then step 3 is show what you know. This is just a reminder that you're going to have your kids produce some kind of writing assignment to show what they learned during this unit. And we have ideas. There are quiz games, there are coloring sheets, there are narration pages, there are all kinds of things, and it varies from subject to subject exactly what is in here. A lot of times you'll see Writer's Workshop ideas. So let's say if you're using Layers of Learning's Writer's Workshop, you might be doing the Fanciful Stories unit in Writer's Workshop. So you would look at Fanciful Stories and it says, imagine that you find the egg of a water dragon. Write a story about what happens when the egg hatches on your pillow. Well, one of the explorations in here was about a water dragon. And so that ties in your history unit with your Writer's Workshop, and you can kind of dovetail the subjects together. Again, optional. You get to choose what you want, but there are lots of ideas. At the end of each of the units, there's a sidebar that says Unit Trivia Questions, and it just has random questions from the unit. This one says, what rivers were important to the Sumerians? And then it shows in red the answer, the Tigris and the Euphrates. And it goes through, there are usually between 6 and 10 questions, depending on how much room there is. And those are just, it can be a little quiz for your kids, it can be a trivia game. You can add extra questions as you want. These are just some questions of things that you would have learned in the unit. And then at the very end of every single unit, there is a Big Book of Knowledge worksheet. And this is something that you print out, and the mentor records the things that you're learning about in the unit, and then you keep them in your homeschool's Big Book of Knowledge. And that is kind of like a trivia, question, quiz, test bank, so that you can continually review it. So when you do history the next time and you're starting a new unit, pull out this sheet and do a quick review. This sidebar right here explains the Big Book of Knowledge, and there's more on layersoflearning.com that also explains how that works. So each of these separate subjects has their own topic. So here's the geography, but you're going to see the very same basic format. So you're always going to have that unit overview, you're going to have the description, you're going to have the library list, and then you're going to have all of the activities with the extra sidebars of ideas. It will end with the unit trivia and the show what you know portion, as well as the Big Book of Knowledge. you kind of get into the same rhythm as you do it again and again and again. And so that's the basic tour, but I do want to show you one more thing. A lot of people buy the PDFs and then they print them, and you absolutely can, but I want to show you another option. So this is my iPad. Let's see if I can get it to come in. And I just downloaded the PDFs on this, and as long as you have something on your iPad or tablet that is a PDF viewer, you can do this. I store them in Google Docs, but there are lots of cloud services that you can use. And then when I'm ready to use a unit, I don't have to print out anything. I can just start using the unit. So anything on here is going to be exactly the same that you saw in what I printed, because this is the exact same PDF. So here is the unit overview, and here's the description of the unit. And then you've got the library list. This is really bright. Let me see if I can dim it a little bit. See if that'll show up better. That's a little bit better. You've got the library list and all of the sidebars that we've come to expect. All of the activities, all indicated with the smiley faces, just like we talked about. And as you're going through it, you can just use the unit right on your tablet. Something that's cool is if you're going vertically, it's taking you through the unit. But let's say that I'm done with history and I'm ready to go to geography. If I have it in that same file organized in Google Docs, I can just swipe and oh look, oh this is my science, sorry about that. But each one just swipes and it takes you to the next one. There's my geography, there's my art, and then if I'm ready to do art that day, I just go to where I'm at. In fact, one of the neat things with the iPad is that wherever I left off in Google Docs, it picks up in the same spot the next time I open it. So let's say that we just finished, you know, right here. When I open this the next day, even if I've opened other things, when I go back to this document, it will take me right to where I left off. So it's pretty handy. It's pretty easy to use on an iPad. The other thing I want to show you really quickly is that along with my units, I have my printable packs in here. So let's say that I'm going along and I want to do the timeline that day. Well, that timeline, the table of contents shows me that it is on page 3. There it is. And if I just select print, then I'm going to go print and tell it to print page 3. And right now, my iPad will send it right to my printer, just like that. So I don't even have to print things ahead of time when I'm using them with my kids. So you can absolutely print it out and prepare everything, or you can just use it right from an iPad. But the basic format of all of the units is the same. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but after you've done a unit or two, you know where everything is at. It becomes really instinctive, and you can quickly find your way around and navigate in your homeschool. It's not something where you start from the beginning and go straight through all of the time, but once you've learned to navigate those units, it's really, really easy, and you can just start exploring right along with your kids. We love it when families are all learning together. So moms don't have to be completely prepared. Dads don't have to know every fact before they start teaching. You can just jump in with your kids. We like to do enough planning that we have the resources to explore. Make sure that you've taken the time to get some of the books from the library list, that you've found a couple of cool websites from, you know, that resources page on Layers of Learning. Maybe checked out a couple of the YouTube videos, and then you can just get right in and choose projects and explore with your kids. So it's a lot of fun. I will be making a few more videos to familiarize you with a few more of the parts of Layers of Learning, but hopefully that gave you a little bit of an idea of what you'll find in the brand new Layers of Learning. Thanks for joining me.